Get more confidence, dates, and sex. Build the relationships and lifestyles you really want.
DatingSkillsReview.com presents a training program for dating with different world-class experts in every single episode, teaching you the secrets to their skills and success.
Dating Skills Podcast, the podcast for men.
Hey, this is Angel Donovan, and I'm here in New York City today with Paul Janka from Janka Method.
That's right, yeah.
Paul's been in NYC for a while. He's actually got a lot of attention since around 2007, been on a lot of shows. He's really one of the bachelors, players here who's got a big reputation for himself. So really happy to have you here.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
All right, so we want to start off with something, really to set the frame here of who Paul Janka is. So, what is your score, man?
Well, it's over 200 of actual girls I've had intercourse with. There's a little bit of an issue. I used to keep a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It arose because in 2001 I was driving cross country with a buddy, and we just started talking about girls we'd slept with. I was about 25. So I made a list, and I was like, I wonder. And I don't know what it was at that time, probably in the 30s or 40s or something. And then I remembered another one. And I put it on a scrap of paper, and then I transferred it to an Excel document in 2001. And I just kept it. Like, it's, the technology's changed, but I've kept that. And I updated it all the way until I started dating my current girlfriend. And we got quite serious. And we had a period where we were not exclusive, but I stopped the spreadsheet there. So it's in the early 200s, but there's a handful more beyond that. Right. So I don't know exactly what it is, and I'm not gonna. Going forward, I don't think I'm going to document it because I don't want to have any evidence.
Okay, no
evidence. It was fine in the early days, but I think I'm at a point in my life where I don't need to have stuff written down. Let's put it that way.
Okay, good. All right, so now, Paul's very focused on meeting women during the day. A bit like one of our earlier interviews with Jeremy Soule. You know Jeremy Soule from Love Systems?
I know Love Systems.
Right. Anyway, one of their guys is focused on the day game too, so he's spoken a bit about that. So what I thought would be good is to talk a bit about, where do you meet women? How does it go? From basically start to finish.
Okay, I'll just take you through a normal template. I mean, first of all, when I moved to New York, everything changed because anyone who's been here knows that just flow of single women. I don't know what the ratio is, but I've heard it's 3 to 1. If you take in Manhattan, for example, if you take all the young men and women, half the guys are gay, or it's a third, so they're out of it. And then you have the guys in relationships. So really, there's maybe a third or fewer percent left of straight single men. Then you have a huge influx of women. And it's a separate thing, but economically, the reason these women can live here is often they're subsidized by fathers and stuff to pay for the rent, and they live 3 to an apartment. So you have, even though it's very expensive, you have an inordinate amount of young women here.
Yeah.
So if you just walk down the street, you'll see tons and tons and tons of them. And
it's incredible.
It's probably, yes, you can meet them in bars and you can do online, but my thing was just pick them off the street. That's kind of how it happened. And basically what I do is I get the number very quickly from if I'm running errands or whatever, I might get 10 or 15 numbers a day. And when I coach, I sometimes get 25 or 30 numbers or 40 or so numbers a day. And then I go home and there's a fair amount of text work in here. I just basically hit them all up with a hey, good to meet you text. And then if I have time that night, I start to try and see who's available that night. And there's a lot of detail that goes into it, but basically you screen and see who's free, and then you set up dates. And the great thing, it's a numbers game with a huge pool. There's often a girl on a quiet Tuesday who's got nothing going on. Not just one girl, there's probably 5. And then in my heyday, I used to stack them 7 p.m., 9 p.m., 11 p.m. So I would have 3 dates lined up. The first would show, girls flake, but let's assume that it was solid. The first would show, and I'd try to make them move, but it wasn't happening, and I'd cut her, and then 9 would show up. Maybe I would get lucky and either, do the deed and get her out and have another one come, or just quickly in the middle of fooling around or whatever, if I knew it was going well, go and text the other one hey, something's come up, 11 o'clock. So if you live in a target-rich environment like New York, other cities that I've last year I went on a tour, the Mediterranean, North Africa, and Asia, looking for. New York's the best, what I've seen, but Paris you can probably do this, and London is pretty good.
Big cities,
big cities,
bustling cities,
big, and it has to be walking. LA I think would be not good because
Right.
you have everyone's in their car. So New York is really, really.
It's like you need high traffic.
High traffic, public
streets.
transportation helps because you can meet just on the train or whatever. Yeah, and there's variations in coffee shops, at museums, whatever. I mean, in my heyday, I was getting numbers wherever there were cute girls. You're now with cell phones and texting. I mean, 10 years ago, this was a different deal. You had to like call answering machines and stuff, but now it's easy. And I almost never ever speak with a girl. It's all text based.
Okay, so like let's take a few steps back and like kind of see how that works in detail, because that sounds great, but I'm sure most guys can't get their head round how it's possible to just grab a number in the street or wherever it is and all of a sudden be back at your place. And so what happens is you're walking down the street and you see someone attractive, and what do you typically do like in that moment, or what do you think?
There's so much. It's so funny. I wrote so much detail on this. Basically, the best pickup situation is if a girl's, say, walking ahead of me.
Yeah.
And she's roughly my height, so there's no like height differential. Basically, it has to. The best pickups are the ones that are obviously most natural feeling, right? Well, anytime there's something that's not natural, she's prone to put up like a block or a red flag. So in other words, it's not good energy if a girl's sitting at. It's doable, but if a girl's sitting at a Starbucks at a table and I walk and stand up, I'm like 2.5 feet above her, right? So the energy is a little weird in terms of like, it can still work, of course, but doesn't feel quite as natural. So the best is that we're both walking in the same direction, actually.
Yeah.
She may be stopped, and I'm coming up at her to her side laterally, and I'll make a throwaway comment like, it's often very specific to the situation. Nice boots. My sister has that same bag. Or I'll ask directions or something to get her attention. And the more specific, and it also depends on how inspired I am at the moment, but it could be something very creative and funny. She'll usually keep walking, look over, and probably register two things, like, is this guy, what does he look like? So looks, of course, play a part in this. It's undeniable. But a lot of that, when I say looks, is like style and body language and stuff. So it's not like what we're born with so much. I mean, that plays, of course, a part, but it's what we do with what we have kind of attitude. So she'll check that out and say, who is this person? And hopefully your look triggers a little bit of an attraction or interest or intrigue.
Right.
And then she'll also register the comment, like, was that funny or insulting or whatever. And then from there it can go any number of ways. But usually I have a little bit, if my energy is good, I have a little bit of back and forth. I'm confident, she's into it, and then I transition as smoothly as possible into like, hey, you're fun, or you're cute, or you're helpful, or something. A little bit of a compliment that makes it as a reason why, because I'm about to ask her for a number.
Right.
And then I say, we should get together for coffee sometime. That'd be fun. What do you think? And when I'm really on, I'm very effective. So a girl will be like, oh yeah, sure. And in an ideal state, and I'll take her number. There's ways to actually get the number if she resists, but we're talking about an ideal. Get the phone number, and then often call her so she has it right there, and then go. And then through the course of a day, it's easy in New York if you're confident to get 20 of these.
Right. So in all of that like interaction, that conversation, how long is it? Is it like a couple of minutes?
Under 2 minutes.
Wow.
60 seconds. Again, part of it's the city, right? Things happen so fast. It can happen on a subway, and like you can say, "Oh, my stop's coming up." And another thing too, if a girl's hesitant, that works in a big city, is you can say, "This is a nice little moment we're having. We're not going to see each other again. Like, you want to take a chance?" And it puts it like, it plays to their adventurous side.
It's quite sweet.
And she'll say, "All right," because there's a little resistance, but also it's just a phone number. It's not like your home address or social security. So if you can strike any kind of spark with her at all, and you can sell kind of well, confidently, girls often will take the chance. I've had situations where I've literally 10 out of 10 times I've asked, I've got the number.
Right.
So
yeah, this stuff isn't. It works after